Welcome back, everyone. This is NYU Grads Daily Podcast. I'm recording this on Sunday, September 10th in the evening. Hope everyone had a great weekend. You're probably going to be listening to this on the way to work or with your breakfast or your morning walk on Monday, September 11th. So before I start talking about the markets, I want to just kind of pause here and just remember those whose lives were tragically taken on Monday, September 11th in 2001, as well as just thank all the first responders after such a horrific event, and all of the military servicemen and women who bravely went into battle after those events, regardless of what your thoughts are on what happened that day. It was definitely a sad day for this country as well as just New Yorkers. I think being in New York, it just adds a little bit more gravitas to the day. Not only was the country under attack, but New York was pretty much under attack, and I don't think anyone can forget where they were that morning. So yeah, it's a solemn day, and just this whole weekend, I was initially thinking about football season starting, and happy to see what happens with the Jets, but then right on Saturday it hit me that that Monday was September 11th. So yeah, my thoughts and prayers to anyone who lost loved ones during that day. It's just such a strange. It's been so long since it happened, but it still feels like it wasn't that long ago. And for me personally, I was lucky enough not to have lost any friends or family members that day. I did have friends that worked in the area, and luckily they were able to get home safely to their families that day. A lot of stories surrounding folks walking home, because at that time I lived in Queens, as a lot of my friends and family members, they walked home from Wall Street or Midtown, all the way back to like Bayside or Flushing. It was just a really crazy day. But with that said, let's cover what happened on the Friday session going into the weekend. Just real quickly, let's dive into breadth. Friday session, it was kind of I would say it closed green. Okay, everything closed green. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P, and the Russell. But I would say it was a pretty weak day, and I'll tell you why in a second. So let's cover how the market closed, and I'll go into breadth, and you'll see the context in why I'm saying this. The Dow closed up 75 points. The Nasdaq closed up 12 points. The S&P closed up 6 points. So not nothing crazy. But then when you look under the hood, you had 103 new highs, but you had 344 new lows. So new lows outpaced new highs almost over 3-1. That's never good. You still had 70% of shares under the 50-day moving average on the NYSE, Amex, and Nasdaq. And you had a pretty balanced advancing declining. You had 46% advancing and 48% declining. So that's kind of a wash. That's what I was saying is like, to be quite honest, you probably didn't even need to get out of bed if you're trading this, okay? Because, it was kind of like a nothing burger day, even though some of the stuff was green. I feel like my gut tells me that we're really waiting for two things this coming week is going to be Apple's potential iPhone 15 announcement on Tuesday in the afternoon, and Wednesday morning's CPI numbers, which will, I think both of those are going to move the markets quite a bit this week. Looking at kind of the complexion of the day or the summary of the Friday session, overnight on Thursday, we basically rallied. And then around 5 a.m. Friday morning, the market pretty much vomited that entire overnight session rally. And we back tested the magic angel number 4444 on the ES again at 5 a.m. New York time. It bounced till about 7, and before the market opened, we went back down to test that 4444 area once again. We didn't get all the way, but we kissed it at 4445, and the market opened, and we kind of zoomed higher from there. Going closer into the European close at 11:30-ish, the last half hour of European trading session, 11:30 New York time, prices were just kind of, the ES was bouncing around in the 44.70 range. NVIDIA weak all morning, and I think either it's just selling off because it needs to, because it's up so much, or some of this reporting that I've been sharing with you from other sources. I'm not the source, I'm just sharing the information that I found on X about CoreWeave and Magnetar might be a headwind for NVIDIA right now, because what I saw was a lot of the national news press is picking up that research and is basically saying it's baloney, it's just internet fear mongering, etc. So the fact that multiple nationwide news outlets are picking this story up and refuting it the way that they are is actually drawing more attention to it, which I think is kind of stupid on the sell side of Wall Street. They should have never addressed it if they have a inclination for this to never get out. The volatility was weak all day this Friday. VIX crushed the VIX Fridays, right? After lunch, I looked at breadth right around 12:40. Breadth was still very weak, relatively speaking, to upside volume in the past few sessions where we tried to bounce. So I was just kind of twiddling my thumbs, watching the market. And at 2:55 p.m. in the afternoon, I will share this again in the show notes, but I posted on Substack Notes, kind of like my crayon drawing of the session, where we double bottomed on the daily chart, and we kind of rocketed higher, and then we sold off, and it looked like we were going to go back down to 4444 again into the close, but the last 20 to 15 minutes, buyers came in and pressed that hit the bid button, whether it was humans or algos. I haven't really looked into it, but it was literally the last 15 minutes of the session on Friday. It was like saved by the bell, and we kind of bounced with volume to 44.65. So I can't discount that, but it was literally at the last 15 minutes of the session, and I'll post those charts in the show notes. Let's see what stuck out. I mentioned NVIDIA was down, but Tesla was also down in the afternoon. When you take a look at the sector performance, energy for the week, energy was the only sector that was green for the week. When you look at the red sectors, industrials, basic materials, consumer cyclical, and technology all finished down for the week. What was strong on Friday session was energy and utilities, much like the weekend. Not the weekend, the week ending results, energy led for the intraday as well. When I look at the week column, real estate was weak. Real estate was really weak a few sessions ago, and it was bouncing, but then it continued on the softness on Friday session, and industrials were also weak. Individual shares that were kind of weak as well that I noticed was VinFast Auto. This has just been read every day. I warned you guys to stay away from SPACs, especially something like VinFast Auto. I never touch SPACs. Like or meme stocks, I just never do it. It's just a cardinal rule for me. I don't want to get involved in chasing prices higher and then, it going from $93 to $17 in 4 sessions. It's you'd be very well to do a favor for yourself and your family to stay away from SPACs and meme stocks like this. Kava, the IPO from the summer, that was weak. Crocs was also weak. But other than that, I felt like it was a muted day. And I'll just reiterate again this week, Apple's event on Tuesday afternoon. They're going to announce new products as well as the whole iPhone 15 line. And then CPI on Wednesday morning. I think the PPI comes out on Thursday. That's going to also have an impact. This week, Thursday also has U.S. retail sales, as well as business inventories. And I think that's going to be, manufacturing for Empire State is on Friday, but I think the bulk of the price sensitive news is going to be Tuesday with Apple and the CPI on Wednesday. So I'll see you guys on the next podcast. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's go get it this week. All right, later.